I'm going to show you the next step for your weaving project when you get to this point. Here, this one I decided not to make a flap, but I'm going to show you how to take this off the loom, but we need to make sure that this is all tied nice and tight. So right now you should be right here. You should have your little pieces all tied together with another little tail that was hanging off, and it should just look nice and tight like that. Okay. Once you get to that point, this is the scary part. You're going to cut right up here at the top. Okay, so you're just going to cut those strings all the way across. Okay. So you're going to do that on one side, and then what you're going to do is take two of them and tie a double knot right at the edge. So you're going to tie once and twice. So you have a nice double knot right up to the edge there. Right here. So then I'm going to take these two right here and tie a double knot. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way across. Some of you, when you get to the end, you may find that you don't have two to go with each other. If you get to that point where you don't have a match, tie it to the one next to it. Just take one piece from the other one that you tied and tie it to that. But luckily I had an even amount here, so I'm going to be able to tie these. Okay, so there's my first side. Next, you're gonna, so I have these tied, I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to cut these now. And once I do this, I'm gonna do the same process that I did on the other side and start to tie these all the way across. Okay, so here, let me show you. Here's one that didn't have a friend at the end, didn't have a partner here. So what I'm going to do is borrow from this one that was already tied, and I'm just going to tie a double knot. So now you want to make sure everything's tied here and everything's tied here before you take it off the loom. So now the next step is we're just going to carefully start to pull this off the loom. Now, you're going to get to a point where you ended up taping it down, right here. So just once you get to that part, peel the tape off, so then you can get this off here. And do it very carefully. Don't pull very tightly, because now these are all stuck into these little notches. So what you have to do is just gradually pull away, little by little, these off of these little latches here. Okay, so there we go. So now I have all these little knots here from where I tied these little tails together. What you want to do is take your bag now and flip it inside out. It's going to look a lot neater than the other side. And then just kind of form it. You will find that there's like this little string here. So what I do is I'll just take my finger through there and pull it through the inside. Just tuck it in there so I don't see it. And then you'll see like it's kind of pulling away here. Just kind of form it with your hands so that it's just nice and neat. Okay. All right, so now it should look like this. All right, on to the next step. Move my camera here. Okay, sorry for the shaking. Now what we need to do is we need a piece of felt. And the felt is going to go inside the bag. So what I tend to do is fold the felt in half, and the majority of you will have the felt fit, but if you went a little taller, some people might have went like real tall, what you want to do is take two pieces together and put it up against your bag with the two pieces and cut it to the shape of the bag. So for instance, I would cut right here. I don't want to cut now and waste this felt, but you'd want to cut it in half, and then if you need to, you might have to just cut a little bit off the edge here too, because you want it to fit exactly like the bag, all right? But majority of you will be able to just fold this piece in half, and I'm probably just going to have to cut a little piece off. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to cut this a little bit off. Of course, I had to grab a scissors that doesn't cut. And this will be hopefully the right size when I hold it up to my bag. All right, I'm gonna put it over it, see if it lines up pretty good. It does. But now I have these sides that are open. The bottom is okay, but I need to sew up the sides of these. So to do that, you're going to take a needle and thread. I already have mine together here. So I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom after I thread it through the needle. Okay, so I've got a knot at the bottom. I have my needle, my thread, and I'm just going to have this little tail hanging here, and this side longer with the knot at the bottom. And then I'm going to start here at the bottom, and I'm just going to pull it through, pull and over, pull it through the two pieces there, pull it through and over. And because this is felt, it's a little thicker, you might have to like jiggle a little bit to get the needle to go through. So go over, through, pull, over, through, and pull. And you go all the way up to the top. Kind of make them together like that. Don't spread them too far apart, because then there's going to be big holes. So now for our next step, we have this all sewn up the side. So I have one side sewed and one side sewed. The bottom I didn't need to sew because it was folded in half, and now I have only one area open, okay? So I'm going to take this little piece of the bag and I'm going to place it right inside my weaving. So it's lined with the felt. Okay, so it's in there, nice. But before we sew that together, we need to make a handle. What you need to do is take a bunch of pieces of string from the yarn, strands of the yarn, I mean, and you need to cut, I would say a good amount is about 21 because you're going to braid these, and you need to have about 7 strands in each section. If it's a little less than that, that's okay, but try to make it at least 7 in each strand, so 21 of them. And all you need to do is hold up your yarn, cut one strand, and then just cut a bunch of the same size. So you just keep taking the yarn, holding it up to the last strand you did. Take it, and then cut it. Before you know it, you'll have 21 strands. You can use solid color, or you can use all the colors that were in your bag, or you can use a completely different color. So once you have the 21 strands, what you're going to do is try your best to take it all together and tie a knot. So you have to get it, you want to get it like kind of long like this, and start to tie a knot and pull your fingers through and try to catch all these. All right, so then what you want to do is gradually pull this knot up toward the top. Okay, so now you've had all these pieces of strands of yarn tied together. And then what I'll do is I'll just cut them even. But I want a little tail here just because I'm going to tape it down now to my table or workspace, wherever I'm working. I'm just going to tape that down. Oops, I want you to be able to see this here. I don't think I got a long enough piece of tape. Okay, so now, if you don't know how to braid, what you need to do is take an equal amount of strands in each hand, or each section. You're gonna have 3 sections here. So I got my 7 here, my 7 in the middle, and my 7 on the end. And then I'm just going to braid. Take the outside, pull it to the middle, bring the middle to the outside. Take the outside on the other side and bring that to the middle. And what I do is I just keep going. I go back and forth to the outside strand to the middle. And you just braid that as far as you can go. You want to try to get it as tight as possible so that it doesn't fall apart. When you get to the end and you can't go any further, now you're going to tie a knot at the end here. So now it holds it in place. I'm going to trim off the extra here. Okay. And now I have a handle. So I have my felt inside my bag. Now I need to put it all together so it becomes one. What I will do is take part of the handle. I'm going to put it into the side of my bag here. I'm going to put it in between the felt and the weaving area. Okay, so that's nice in there, like that. I'm going to stuff all these little pieces inside as I go. Okay, and now what I need to do is sew this together. This is the tricky part. I need to get a long piece of string here. I'm going to tie a knot on one side. And then I'm going to thread the needle, if I can find it. Here it is. Carefully thread this through. Okay, so now what I'm going to do over here is you're going to take, you're going to start it through the felt actually first. You're going to pull. And you're going to stuff that little string behind, in between the felt and the weaving. Okay, so now what we need to do first is sew this handle into the felt and the bag. So what you're going to do now is go in to the felt, into the handle, and into the weaving, and pull. And then you're going to come back through the weaving into the handle and into the felt. And you want to do that a couple different times so that it's nice and tight, so it doesn't slide out. So again, this time I'm going through the weaving, through the handle, and through the felt. And since I did that a few times, I should be okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing all of this together. So I'm going to start this way, and every time I do a little bit more, I'm pushing all this string, like it right now it's green, yours might be a different color, I'm pushing that down into the weaving, like in between the weaving and the felt, and I'm going to go over into the weaving and through the felt, and then pull. And I want to get really close together so that it looks nice and neat. You don't want to sew this too far apart. You want to be very close. And you go over and pull. So I'm going over into the weaving, through the felt, and I'm pulling. Over, through the weaving, through the felt, and pulling. And sometimes my handle gets stuck. Okay, so now see how that's taking place? Now I don't see any of that extra string that was hanging at the top. It's all inside my bag. So now I have a nice tight handle here, and now I'm going to start going all the way to the other side here until I get to the other side of my bag to sew in the other part of the handle.